Hey guys, welcome back to Prep Talk on Prepping in Progress. Today we are going to be answering a cooking, leavening, baking question slash challenge laid down in the comments of our last video by Out Bubba. So stay with us. Okay, guys, so Out Bubba threw out at us that coming up with a leavening agent, such as a way to make baking soda or baking powder, would be a great prep and a great skill to have in a scenario. And, why don't you guys do some research on that? Well, we did. Challenge accepted. And I've got some good news and I've got some bad news for you. So, I'm going to pull out some notes here. The easiest or cleanest way to make baking soda is with something called Trona ore. It's a crystalline substance that is heated, treated, salt is added, and it becomes sodium bicarbonate. There were multiple methods throughout history, but that particular way with Trona ore is the safest. A lot of the chemicals used in years past to make soda ash in order to make baking soda were harmful not only to people but to the environment. So, good news, bad news. In order to have baking soda or baking powder, you're going to have to stock up on one of the two. It's all going to depend on what you use. Me personally, we're going to get there. But unless you have a source of Trona ore, it's going to be difficult. So, first of all, we're going to play with science. These two glasses over here are filled with water. And the reason I'm showing you that is baking powder is activated by water. So what we're going to do is take a big old heaping spoonful of baking powder and drop in there, and you can see it's starting to fizz and fuzz and whatnot. That is the baking powder being activated. Now, here's where it gets interesting. If we don't have baking powder, what can we do? Okay, so let's try making baking powder. Here's where it gets difficult and the overlap comes into play. We're going to need 1 tablespoon of baking soda in order to do this. And this is where I'm saying you need to stock one or the other. We have, let's just give it a little bit more. Make sure that's a good tablespoon. So, we have a tablespoon of baking soda. Now for the added ingredient, cream of tartar. We're going to throw in 2 tablespoons of cream of tartar. And we'll mix it all up. And we're going to pour this mixture into this other cup of water. And you have just made baking powder. So, prep wise, if you want to prep two things, you would stock up on cream of tartar and baking soda. All right? So that is one way to do this. Now, baking soda, sodium bicarbonate, it reacts to acid as opposed to water. Okay? Now then, we've all used Alka-Seltzer. You know, drop the 2 tablets in a cup of water, plop, plop, fizz, fizz, drink it down. Acid indigestion disappears. Our next guest star is distilled vinegar. And sorry, I refuse to drink this stuff to prove to you that it is actually vinegar. Ugh. Now, in cooking, your baking soda is going to be activated by, say, you know, if you're using vinegar in a dish or buttermilk or other acidics, right? So if you've got goats or sheep or cows and you're making buttermilk, you're going to be wanting to using your baking soda. Now here's where things get cool. We just made baking powder out of baking soda and cream of tartar. Now, 1 teaspoon of baking soda equals 4 teaspoons of baking powder. Now first what we're going to do is we're just going to prove that this is, you know, that baking soda reacts with an acid. And then some. All right? So, here we have our other cup of vinegar. We're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4. Don't really need to mix it up because it's all the same thing. And we're going to drop it in here and make another mess. And there you go. So, we have used baking soda to make baking powder, and we have used baking powder to make baking soda. The only catch in that is that baking soda is baking powder is made from baking soda. So, where do we go from there? It's up to you as a prepper to decide what you want to do. Do you want to prep super amounts of baking powder so that you can do your measurements and use this with an acid or a water? Or do you want to prep your baking soda and cream of tartar? Now there are other ways to do this, but this is a basic setup. 3 ingredients. You choose how you want to prep it. It's really up to you. So there is that for today. And I've made a mess that I need to clean up before Miss Kim gets back. And it's up to you. It's really going to be hard to make soda ash and baking soda from scratch. So I'm going to say prep something. Prep one of these setups. Either do uber amounts of baking powder that you can switch out, or do the cream of tartar and the baking soda. I'm going to go this route because it gives me more options. If I prep both, yes, it's going to be more expensive, but I use cream of tartar for other things than just this particular recipe, experiment, technique. I use it for meringues. I use it for lots of other different experiments, and I'll slip it into recipes. So there it is. We've made a mess. We've had some fun, and there's a prep talk. Debate in the comments whether you would prep cream of tartar and baking soda or just baking powder, and what you think about it. Remember, guys, that if you're in Arkansas, this Saturday, July 20th, is going to be the second ever Johnson County, Arkansas Prepper Swap Meet. I'll put the link in the description. The link for the video where Out Bubba made this statement is going to be up above, and we'll probably put it in at the end. Let's see, is there any other business? Not really. You guys have been fun. I'm out of here. I got to go clean this up before I get in trouble.